My name is Rachel Monroe. I'm 34 years old. 2 years after I buried my husband, I found a bank statement with his signature on it, dated 8 months ago. My hands went cold. I sat on the kitchen floor, staring at his handwriting, at a date that made no sense. He was dead. I watched them lower his casket. I signed the death certificate myself. So why did the insurance company just tell me the policy was cashed out by him 2 years before he died? Before I tell you what actually happened, if you're new here, please like this video and subscribe. And drop a comment below, where are you watching from? Because what I found next didn't just break my heart. It made me question everything I thought I knew about the man I married. Let me take you back to when it all started. It started on a Tuesday. 14 months since the funeral. I was finally clearing out his home office, boxes I'd avoided touching. A locked drawer stopped me. I found the spare key taped under the desk. Inside, old bank statements, insurance forms, a folder labeled personal. I almost closed it. Something made me open it instead. My fingers stopped on a page. Withdrawal confirmation. Life insurance policy, cashed out in full. Signature, his. Date, April 14th, 2 years before he died. I read it 3 times. My heart wouldn't slow down. I called the insurance company, hands shaking, voice steady enough to ask one question. Can you confirm when this policy was paid out? The woman on the phone paused too long before answering. Ma'am, this policy was closed by the account holder himself. In person. I gripped the phone. That's impossible. He wasn't alive to close anything 2 years later. Wait. I stopped myself. 2 years before he died. Not after. Before. My throat tightened. If he cashed it out while he was still alive, what exactly did he know that I didn't? I hung up the phone and sat there, staring at the wall. My mind went back to before, back to when none of this made sense yet. 3 years into our marriage, everything looked normal. Mark left for work at 7 every morning. Kissed me on the forehead. Said love you like clockwork. I never questioned it. Then small things started. A second phone charger in his car, one I didn't recognize. I asked him once. He said it was a spare for work. I believed him. Weekend trips increased. Business conferences, he called them. I packed his bags myself sometimes. Never thought twice. One night, I walked into his office without knocking. He slammed his laptop shut so fast it nearly fell off the desk. You scared me, he said, laughing it off. I laughed too. Now, sitting on that office floor with the withdrawal slip in my hand, that laugh replayed in my head differently. His laptop. His trips. That drawer I never had a key to until today. Small things. I had ignored every one of them. 6 months after that night with the laptop, Mark told me he had a work trip to Denver. Routine, he said. I drove him to the airport myself. He hugged me longer than usual. I didn't think anything of it. 3 days later, a police officer called my phone. Car accident. Mountain road outside Denver. No survivors. I remember dropping the phone. I remember screaming. I don't remember much after that. The funeral came fast, too fast, looking back. Closed casket. The officer said the crash was severe. I never asked to see him one last time. I trusted what they told me. Family flew in. Friends brought casseroles I never ate. Everyone kept saying the same thing, he's in a better place now. I nodded along, numb. The insurance agent came to the house 2 weeks later, gentle, professional, offering condolences before mentioning paperwork. I remember him saying the claim would take time to process. I said that was fine. I wasn't in a hurry. Now, sitting with that withdrawal slip in my hands, one detail kept surfacing. I never saw his body. Not once. 2 days after finding the drawer, I called the insurance company back. This time I asked for a supervisor. A man named Daniel picked up, calm, professional. I explained everything, the withdrawal slip, the date, the signature. He went quiet for a moment, typing. "Ma'am, I'm pulling up the file now." His voice changed. "This policy shows full payout completion 2 years prior to the date of death on file." My stomach dropped. "Payout to who?" I asked. "There's a secondary account listed," he said. "Not yours." My hand tightened around the phone. "Whose account?" "I can't disclose that without documentation," he said. "But I can tell you it wasn't processed under your name or your husband's primary account." I sat down slowly. "Someone else got that money." "Yes, ma'am." My mind raced. Someone else. Someone Mark trusted enough to redirect an entire policy to. Someone I never knew existed. I thanked Daniel and hung up, staring at the withdrawal slip again. There was a name printed at the bottom I hadn't noticed before, small, faded, easy to miss. My throat went dry reading it. The name on the slip read, Diane Cole. I said it out loud, testing it, like it might mean something. It didn't, not yet. I searched it online immediately, hands trembling on the keyboard. Nothing useful came up. Common name, too many results. I tried Mark's old email instead, the one I still had access to for closing accounts. I typed Diane into the search bar. One email appeared, buried in a folder labeled Receipts. Subject line, Property Transfer, Final Steps. My chest tightened. I opened it. It was addressed to Diane, dated 3 months before the funeral. The message was short. "Everything's set on my end. Just waiting for the timing to work out." Timing? What timing? I scrolled down further and found an attachment, a property deed. A house in another state. Listed under both names, Mark Monroe and Diane Cole. My hands went cold. This wasn't a co-worker. This wasn't a friend. I sat frozen, staring at the screen, at a life I never knew he was building. A life with someone else. A life that started while he was still coming home to me every night. I couldn't sleep that night. I opened his old email again at 2 a.m., searching every folder this time. Financial statements. Wire transfers. Names I didn't recognize. One folder caught my eye, DC Docs. Inside, scanned documents, IDs, signatures. My hands shook scrolling through them. Then I found it, a joint bank account statement, opened 4 years into our marriage. Balance, substantial. Deposits matching dates I remembered as business trips. I grabbed my laptop and cross-referenced everything with our calendar app, still synced from years ago. Every trip to Denver lined up with deposits into that account. Every single one. I sat back, breathing hard. This wasn't sudden. This wasn't a mistake. This was years of planning. I kept scrolling and found a photo attachment, buried deep in a forwarded email. Mark, smiling, standing in front of that same house from the deed. Diane beside him, arm around his waist. Timestamp, 2 months before the funeral. My stomach turned. He was alive then. He was smiling then. I zoomed into the corner of the photo, and something in the background made my blood run cold. A calendar. Hanging on the wall behind them, visible in the photo's corner. I zoomed in until the numbers blurred, then sharpened. The month matched. The year matched. 2 months before his funeral, clear as day. I opened a blank document and started writing dates down, side by side. Insurance payout, April 14th, 2 years before death certificate issued. Property deed signed, same week as the payout. Photo with Diane, 2 months before the funeral. Emails discussing timing, 3 months before. Everything lined up except one thing, his actual death. I stared at the timeline until the pattern became impossible to ignore. He didn't die and then someone found the money. He moved the money first. He built a life first. Then, 2 years later, he died. I whispered it out loud in the empty kitchen. You planned this. My hands were shaking again, but not from grief this time. I pulled up the accident report I'd kept in a drawer for 2 years, untouched since the funeral. I read the officer's name at the bottom. Then I read something I'd never noticed before, no photo of the body attached. None. I called the county records office the next morning. Asked for the accident report file, full version, not the summary I'd been given. The clerk put me on hold for 20 minutes. When she came back, her voice sounded careful. Ma'am, there's no autopsy report attached to this file. My grip tightened on the phone. What do you mean, none? Identification was made through personal items found at the scene. Wallet, phone, wedding ring. Not through him. Through his things. I thanked her and hung up, sitting in silence for a long moment. Then I remembered something, his gym membership. Still active, still charging my card every month. I'd meant to cancel it for 2 years and never did. I called the gym directly, asked when the account was last used. The employee checked, then paused. Sir, it shows a check-in 5 months ago. I froze. That's impossible. He's dead. I'm just reading what's on the system, ma'am. 5 months ago. Not 2 years ago. 5 months. My whole body went numb. Someone was using his membership. Someone was walking into that gym, badge scanning, 5 months ago. And I had a horrible feeling I knew exactly who. I drove to the police station the next morning, folder in hand, the withdrawal slip, the emails, the photo, the gym records. An officer named Detective Reyes agreed to see me. I laid everything on his desk, talking fast, explaining the timeline. He listened, nodding slowly, but I could see it in his eyes, doubt. Ma'am, the case was closed 2 years ago. Cause of death confirmed by responding officers. There's no autopsy, I said. Identification was through his wallet. He sighed. That's standard in high-impact collisions sometimes. I pushed the gym records toward him. Someone used his membership 5 months ago. He glanced at it, unimpressed. Could be a mistake in their system. Happens more than you'd think. I felt my face heat up. And the money? The house? The woman in the photo? That's a civil matter, not a criminal one. Insurance fraud, maybe. I'd need a lot more before reopening a death investigation. I left his office empty-handed, folder clutched to my chest, anger rising in my throat. Nobody believed me. Nobody wanted to look closer. So I decided I'd find the proof myself, starting with the house on that deed. I found the address from the property deed and drove 3 hours to a small town I'd never heard of. I sat in my car outside the house, hands on the wheel, staring at the front door. A neighbor was watering her lawn next door. I got out, walked over, forced a smile. Hi, I'm looking for someone who used to live here, Mark? She squinted at me. Sure, Mark and Diane. Nice couple. Haven't seen them in a few months though. Moved out kind of sudden. My chest tightened. Do you know why? She shrugged. Diane mentioned some trouble with money. Debt's catching up, I think. Mark seemed stressed the last time I saw him. Debts. I thought about our savings account back home, the one that mysteriously drained years ago. I always assumed bad investments. Now it made sense. He didn't just want a new life. He needed an escape from something worse, collectors, maybe, or people he owed. Faking his death wasn't cruelty for its own sake. It was survival, at my expense. I thanked the neighbor and walked back to my car, my mind already racing. If they left suddenly, they were hiding again. And I needed to know where. I checked the mailbox before leaving, an old habit. One envelope sat inside, addressed to current resident. A forwarding slip from the post office, stuck to the back. New address, a town 2 states away. I typed it into my phone with shaking hands and started driving before I could talk myself out of it. 6 hours later, I parked across the street from a small blue house. Lights on inside. A car in the driveway I didn't recognize. I sat there until sunset, until the front door finally opened. A man stepped out. Same walk. Same posture. My breath caught in my throat. Mark. Alive. Older, thinner, but unmistakably him. I got out of the car before I could stop myself. He turned, saw me, and froze completely. Rachel, his voice cracked on my name. You're supposed to be dead, I said, my voice shaking. I buried you. I cried for 2 years. He raised his hand slowly. Let me explain. Explain what? The money? Diane? The fake accident? Diane appeared in the doorway behind him, going pale at the sight of me. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The silence said everything words couldn't. I filed a full police report the next morning, this time with proof standing right in front of them, photos, his real address, a witness. Detective Reyes reopened the case within days. Insurance fraud. Identity fraud. Faking his own death. Mark was arrested 2 weeks later, quiet and pale, nothing like the confident man who once kissed my forehead every morning. Diane was charged too, accessory, fraud, conspiracy. The insurance company clawed back what they could, though most of it was already gone, spent on a life meant to erase me completely. I sat through every hearing. I watched him avoid my eyes each time. At sentencing, he finally looked at me and said, I never meant to hurt you. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say to a man who let me bury an empty casket and grieve a lie for 2 years. I sold the house we shared, packed away every photo, every memory tied to him. Some nights I still wonder how long he planned it, how many I love yous were real. I'll never fully know. But I know this, I survived something designed to erase me. And I'm still here.